Good morning. I'm back at Coon Creek Nature Preserve in Tallassee, Alabama today. About to start another Parks on the Air activation. So I know I got my Kilo award at Tuskegee National Forest, and now I am working towards getting it for this park. So this is a park that I have activated the second most, and I think I'm a little under 600 contacts in this park right now, so shouldn't take me terribly long, maybe a couple of months to get my Kilo for this park. So you'll be seeing a lot of it. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get everything pulled out of the bag and show you what I'm going to be using today. So yesterday I did something kind of fun and asked folks on Instagram what radio they would like to see me use on my activation today. And it was actually kind of a surprise. So I had a few options. I had the Yaesu FT817, the Lab 599, Discovery TX500, the Elecraft KX2, and this, which is the Mountain Topper MTR4B V2. So this is the newest Mountain Topper, the one that they're currently selling. And I haven't actually had this in a video yet. I've done one activation with it that I didn't record, just to kind of get a feel for the radio. And I haven't used it since then, and that was a few weeks ago. So I'm looking forward to using this today. But anyway, in that poll, I was kind of surprised that it was a pretty close match between the Mountain Topper and the Yaesu FT817 that folks wanted to see. I didn't really expect that, but very cool. Both of those are fantastic radios. You know, the 817 or 818 more recently that got discontinued, but still a widely available radio. I mean, there's got to be thousands and thousands and thousands of those things out there in the world. I mean, it's just a radio that was produced for 20 plus years and was a fantastic radio that sold really well. So I know there's a lot of them out there, so if you want one of those, you can still get them really easy. Mountain Toppers like this MTR4B, these are a little bit harder to find on the used market. I looked for a little while before buying this one, and it was a little difficult. There's not a lot of used ones for sale. So I got this one new, and you know, I know that their website looks like you can never buy these things. At least it did to me. But once I learned how LNR Precision, who makes these, really sells them anyway for right now, is they sell them in batches. And so they will, you know, put up for sale, I think it was 100 or something, back in February when they did their last batch for sale. And once those 100 sell out, then it shows as sold out again on their site. Now in February when they did that sale, all 100 of them sold in less than a day. So you really got to watch their website. And then what they do is they manufacture and send each of those radios off, and it takes them, you know, it might take a couple months to get your radio, but boy, are they worth waiting for. I mean, it's just such a cool radio. And I'll walk through more about it in a minute. But if you're interested in one of these, I encourage you to do two things. Is one, watch their website often. I was checking it nearly every day, and I think the day that they did the restock, I did not check it. And I happened to be scrolling on Facebook and see on their Facebook group for the Mountain Toppers, I saw somebody post that they had just bought one. And so I got really excited, went to their website and saw that I think they had like 8 or 9 left or something. It was pretty close. And so I snagged one right away, didn't even give myself time to think about it. But yeah, that's the second thing I'd recommend is, you know, get onto the Mountain Topper Facebook group. That's how I heard about when they had them restocked. I think you'll see some for sale used there on occasion. They don't last long, normally minutes, but if you're wanting a mountain topper, you know, definitely check out those two things. And you can get one if you want to. They're not impossible to get. They're just not readily available on a store and overnight it to you. But without further ado, let's get this thing set up, and we'll go into a little bit more depth about what I think about it and some of the basics about it here in just a second. All right, I got everything set up here and ready to get started. Got my log, my activation scheduled, so the RBN should spot me. I'm planning on being on 10.112 today. That is, funny enough, that's just my favorite frequency. It's kind of my go-to frequency if it's available. But yeah, so let's talk about the Mountain Topper MTR4B V2 for a second. So this is a very small, obviously, QRP radio. It's a 5-watt radio at 12 volts. But it has a very wide range of voltages that it can accept. I don't remember what the lowest is, maybe 5, not sure. But this radio is well known for the fact that it can run off of like a regular 9-volt battery, like an alkaline battery. And it can run off of one of those for a good long time. You could do an activation. There's a lot of people that have done an activation with nothing but one 9-volt battery. And that's pretty cool. Yeah, really handy to have. I mean, think about, you know, as true backup. You can get a 9-volt battery at any gas station. You can get one at any store. You cannot get a Bioenno battery. You cannot necessarily get a lithium pack like the one I'm running today that supplies 12 volts at any store. You can get USB ones of these, but you cannot get ones that actually will output 12 volts a lot of times anyway. So yeah, the Mountain Topper, though, will run off of a lot of different voltages. That's a really cool feature to me. It uses very, very little power. So today we're starting off with 11.4, 11.5 volts. So I say that this is a 12-volt pack. Really, the nominal voltage of it's like 11.1, and I charged it up to about 90% last night or so. So 11.4 volts or so is about where it's really starting off here. I am not worried about it. This battery would probably run this radio for most of a weekend if I had to guess. It's purely speculation. I haven't tried it yet. Let me try it and I'll let you know though. Yeah, so that's a really awesome thing about it. If you want something that is very conservative on battery power, man, yeah, I don't know that you'll get a lot better than this. But yeah, it is a CW only radio. And it does 4 bands. So it does 20, 30, 40, and 80 meters. Really 20, 30, and 40 are the 3 that I will use in the field. I don't use 80 in the field very often, ever actually, never have. Not opposed to using it, I don't have an issue with it. It's just a good 80 meter antenna is a really big antenna. So it wouldn't be very easy for me to do in the field. Maybe one day. I do wish that this had like 10 meters instead. If this had 10, 20, 30, and 40, man, that would be ideal. Those are the four bands that I enjoy the most for parks on the air and such like that anyway. But, you know, maybe there's a lot of people out there that do like 80. Either way, 20, 30, and 40 to me are the 3 bands that I use the most. strangely enough, I know this is not common, but the band I use the most is 30 meters. That's why I'm really happy that this radio has 30 meters in it. I use that more than any other band, simply because the propagation for it, especially in the morning time, is very reliable. So yeah, great set of bands to me anyway, having 20, 30, and 40 and the addition of 80. I was always confused about how the Mountain Toppers have 3 switches, and I couldn't tell you the exact technical reason, but I can explain to you how to use them, and it's really simple. You line them up. So if you want to be on 20 meters, you go 20, and it does a 2 in Morse code to let you know you're on 20 meters. Then you flip the second one to the same position, the third one to the same position. And now it's on 20 meters. And I'll tell you one thing that's really creepy about this radio. You can hear my cell phone making noise on over there because it's too close to my antenna. Do you hear this radio? I'm going to put this up to the microphone. Listen. It's on. Is that not the quietest darn receiver you've ever heard? There's nearly no background noise. And it's not because it's not sensitive. I mean, you can hear some good weak signals with this thing. It's just really quiet. Let's go back to 30. And I don't know why. But anyway, even on 30 meters, I mean, that's pretty quiet. Might make you think you don't have an antenna hooked up sometimes. But hey, it's not a complaint. I'm not complaining. I would say it's quieter than just about any of my radios. If not the quietest of any of my radios. It may be. But anyway, yeah, so that's how the band switches work. These top 2 are just different parts of the circuit. And you switch them manually. I don't know. Maybe that's just some part of making the design efficient. Maybe that's some part of making it this type of layout affordable. I don't know. All I know is it works. So that's that. Other than the band switches, you'll notice that there's a power switch on and off. Okay. Now there's only 4 controls. Have you ever seen a radio with just 4 buttons? I mean, that's very little, right? So I'm not going to sit here and go into depth in the menus and how all of those work and everything. But what I do want to talk about is that this radio does not have a lot of settings. So for one, it doesn't have a volume control. You can't change the output volume. Now, I have personally found that the output volume it's set to is perfect for me with a pair of earbuds. It's not too loud, it's not too quiet. We got somebody coming on this frequency. It drives an external speaker like this small JBL quite well. So that works fine for me. I'll be honest, I don't miss, turn that down, I apologize. I don't miss the volume control on it because the volume is already set right. It's fine. It doesn't have an RF gain knob. Okay. But the AGC in this thing is fantastic. So I don't really need it. It doesn't have a VFO knob. Now here's the one thing I'll say, is the lack of a VFO knob is the one thing that would make this radio best suited for activating where you are sitting at a table like me right now and you're hanging out on one frequency. Man, somebody's tuning up a long time. You're hanging out on one frequency. I don't need to go up and down the band to do a POTA activation. Now, if I'm POTA hunting, I gotta be honest, changing frequency by pushing these buttons up and down, that would get really old really fast. So I don't know that I would say that this radio is fantastic for you if you want to use it for hunting parks on the air. It might get a little irritating. Now, I mean, you can push the button and then I think it's push the function button at the same time and it makes it move fast, which that's helpful. But it's still, you know, a little tedious to change frequencies using the up and down buttons. But you know, it's not a major deal, especially when you're using it for activating, which is the primary purpose of this radio. And so other than that, you've got like your keyer settings. So like right now I've got it on straight key. because I was using the SWR meter. And then you've got your key or speed. You've got a couple of memory, keyer memories, memory keyer memories. Gosh, I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it's got 3 of those, so you can set 3 messages, and that's fantastic. It's got a clock, and yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot more to it than that. But I think you'll see as I jump on the air and activate here this morning, you'll see what I mean when I say that this radio doesn't have many settings and it doesn't have a lot of features necessarily. But what it does have is set perfectly if you're going to be doing Morse code activations in the field and you want a radio that you can just plug in and go. It's perfect. I mean, I don't need any of the settings because it's already set really well. So anyway, let's get on the air, let you hear it for yourself, see how it does, and yeah, we'll go from there. So I already changed frequencies a little bit since somebody was tuning up down there. Changed to 10.118. I assume somebody's probably going to use that other frequency, and that's fine. So let's call QRL, and then we will start calling CQ and get our activation going. One thing I'm going to mention really quick, I'm a weird keyer. Normally, dits are on the left with your thumb, DAs are on the right with normally your index finger. I'm very strange. I use reverse keying in the sense that I use dits on my thumb, and I use DAs on the right, and I use my middle finger. So I key like this. I don't use my index finger most of the time. I hold my pen with it. And it's neither, I wouldn't say it's necessarily wrong, it's unconventional. But this radio doesn't have a setting for swapping left and right on the paddles. Most radios do, this one doesn't. At first I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to make a cable where I reverse the tip and ring. And that's the right answer, and that's what I will do, and I'll keep that cable with this radio. But the other answer that works just fine, especially with this Bamatech TP3, Bamatech Bama Key TP3, watch this, super technical. Good to go. I literally will just hold it upside down. It works fine. I do wish it had that feature. That's one setting I would like for it to have, but that is seriously not a big deal, and 99% of people, you won't care about that. So, all right, let's get going. Okay, see if I can get cell phone service. There's horrible cell phone service at this park, so I'm going to put my phone back up against my antenna tripod over here. Ah, there it goes making noise again. I just want to see when I get spotted to make sure I do. So if I can just deal with that noise for just a minute. Make sure the RBN picks me up here. I think that it will. Alright, I got 1 bar of service. Alright, RBN has picked me up. I'm good to go. I move my phone back down. I don't really care if I have service. I can remember how to use this memory keyer. It's not that. I think it's... There we go. It's the RIT button and then M1. Well, M1 for first memory anyway. Somebody in there. Ah, hey Matt. Good to get you first in the log this morning. So you'll also notice that this radio has pin diode switching, which means there's no relay clicking or clacking while I'm keying, and full QSK. Got somebody else close by here. I might have to change frequencies in a minute. Morning, sir. Nice strong signal this morning. 253, if I can remember how to write a 5. All right, 3 in the log so far, doing good. Man, is that not just a fantastic sounding radio? I mean, it sounds like a $1,500, $2,000 radio. Seriously. It may not have the features, but boy, does it sound like one. It operates like one. I mean, if you just close your eyes and you're on the air, you might think you're using an ICOM 7610 or something. I've never used a 7610, so I probably shouldn't say that. Oops. Gotcha, K8ETA. Alright, that's 5 in 7 minutes. Not bad. GJ, gotcha. Very good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. MSS. Okay. Okay, that is 10 in 14 minutes. Doing quite well. I guess I should mention the antenna I'm using today. So today I'm using the Gable GRA 7350T again. So it's an 8-foot vertical. You've seen it in several other videos. Fantastic antenna. I guess I should qualify that. Fantastic antenna for what it is. It is an 8-foot loaded vertical, but it's an antenna I really like. I think it performs great for what it is. And I'll have it linked in the description as well as everything that I'm using here today, really. So if you want to go look at anything, feel free to click the See More to open the description and click one of the links and check it out. So I've been trying to do better about that, making sure I have links to everything in the description in case you want to look at it. Got it. Okay, very good. And I've had a few quiet signals, had turned it up. I really like this little JBL speaker. I hope it keeps working good for a while, because man, it's the perfect little size to throw in my backpack. Fits in one of the little small pockets on the side, and I don't even know it's in there until I need it. I think it sounds really good for radio. And for radio, you don't need a big speaker with lots of bass and such. You just need something that's nice and clear. And I would say it certainly fits the bill and at the perfect size. I think it's only like 20 bucks. So I do notice a good bit of my cell phone making noise. I don't know if it's that my other radios don't pick that up as much, or if this radio's receiver is just a lot quieter and therefore I hear it more. I'm not sure, but definitely hear it some. I could easily put my phone on airplane mode and fix that, but it's not bothering me, to be honest. couple more contacts in, and I need to go ahead and pack up here in about 5 minutes. There you go. See, I put my phone on airplane mode. See how much quieter that is. I don't hear it at all. One thing that's amazing to me, so this battery pack is a lithium pack, right? So it drops voltage as it's used. We started off at 11.4 volts, and I don't know if you can see the readout on the screen, probably not, but it's still at 11.4 volts. So I said this radio is crazy efficient with power. I don't know how much it's drawing, but it'd be interesting to put a meter on it and see, because it can't be much. But according to the meter, I think it's putting out at 11.4 volts around 4 watts, which is, you know, plenty for this. Now, if I was running it off of an actual 12-volt battery, then it would be right at 5 watts. I don't remember what the top range of voltage is for these radios, but you don't want to run them off of like Bioenno 12-volt batteries, because when they're fully charged, they're a little over 14 volts. And I know that is too high for this radio. So if you want to use a Bioenno battery, then you need to use a converter to make that voltage a little bit lower. Ideally around 12 volts is kind of where you want. So, you know, this battery works perfect for this radio, because it's, you know, 11.5 volts or so fully charged, and that's right in the right range for it. Nice strong signal. Good to get you in the log here this morning. See how many contacts we're at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I didn't hear that one. I'm sorry, I cannot make it out. I'm going to use my best ear filter and can't hear it. Alright, let's do one more CQ call. Maybe his signal will come up, his or her signal. Ah, EMB, EMB. Alright, Mr. Ed, I think that's you. See if I can hear you. Try in here. Try one more time. Man, we're so close. Seems like there is a wall between us, though. The Skywave wizards do not want to allow us to pass this morning. Alright, I think I'm going to call it a morning. Let's go ahead and call QRT, and I'm going to jump off the air. Oh, I hear you again. See if we can get through. All right, got you. All right, we made it work, sir. Sorry, I could not include you on the video in that. signal there. Very good. All right, let's call QRT one more time. Okay, so just to be clear, when I call QRT, I'm actually hoping somebody comes back to me. If I really gotta go, I'm just gonna switch the radio off and leave. So if you ever hear me call QRT, feel free to come back to me. It just means I'm ready to go, but I'm not in a big hurry because I'm obviously calling QRT anyway. All right, well, good activation. Man, I'm really pleased with the Mountain Topper MTR4B. This is the second time I've used it on an activation, and I think it just performs fantastic. I mean, it works as good as, you know, a radio that costs 4 times the money when it's on the air. I mean, it doesn't have all the buttons and knobs and features and you know, customizable filtering and all of the you know, fun features of fancier radios. But what it does have, boy, does it do really well. I mean, the receiver's quiet, it's sensitive, you can hear good. The audio may not have an internal speaker, but you know, going into an external speaker, the audio is fantastic. With earbuds, it's fantastic. The keyer's smooth. QSK is nice with pin diode silent switching. I mean, it's all around just a great radio. I mean, if you want something for doing CW activations for 20, 30, 40, and 80 meters, and you want it as simple as possible, bulletproof, proven, with a massive community for support, this is your radio right here. So yeah, definitely check out the Mountain Toppers. Fantastic radios, and you can find them. I know that you know, people think that they are like fool's gold, or not fool's gold, but gold, trying to dig for gold. You can't find a Mountain Topper, but yeah, you really can. They're not that hard. You just have to be in the right Facebook groups. You can watch on QRZ, on eBay. I see these things go up for sale from time to time, as well as on their website. I would imagine they're probably going to be releasing another batch here pretty soon, because I was one of the last ones to order in the last batch, and I got mine obviously, so I would imagine they're probably done shipping from the last batch. So you know, odds are that they'll probably be selling another batch. I don't have any insider knowledge, don't know the folks at LNR Precision, so can't say for sure, but if I had to guess, they probably would be soon. So keep an eye on the Facebook page for Mountain Topper on their website. You know, just check it every day, and you'll get one. They're fantastic little radios. They're really fun. The one thing I'll say though, and why I don't carry this radio or a lot of my other radios that often, is because I really hate wires. I know that sounds, you know, stupid, but I just don't like wires. And you know, I've got the coax, all right, that's unavoidable. I've got my CW key, that's relatively unavoidable unless I'm using like the KX2 with the key that mounts on the front. But now I go to things that are not necessarily required for all radios, and that is, I've got a aux cable to go into an external speaker or my headphones. I've got a power cable that goes into it. So out of this radio, I've got 4 wires. And I just don't really like having to have all those wires. And once you pack up all of this, if you're just talking about sheer size, say speaker, battery, radio, just those 3 things, stack them. Well, now I'm not any smaller than the KX2, and the KX2 has all 3 of these things built into it. Plus it has 10 meters through 80 meters, etc. So add in the key, because I can mount a key directly on the front of the radio. And then I still have all these wires that I got to deal with. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not bashing on this radio. Most radios require that, right? My Lab 599 requires that. But I've got a few radios that don't. 2 in particular right now is the KX2 and the FT817. Both have internal speakers, both have great audio, and both have internal batteries that can do an activation quite well. I have the WinCamp battery on my FT817, not the stock battery. But either way, it keeps me from having to carry separate parts like this. That may not be a big deal to you. You can also use batteries much smaller than this. This Talent Cell battery here. You can use batteries much smaller than that for the Mountain Topper. You can use a 9-volt. Alright, now at that point you're getting pretty small. Say you want to get rid of the speaker and you just want to use headphones and a 9-volt battery. Alright, now you've made this a really, really small package. I get it. And it's a fantastic radio. I think it's perfect for, if you're going to be literally on a mountaintop and you don't want to fiddle with settings and you just want a radio you can turn on, activate, and hike back down. This is excellent choice. But for me, I also really like my KX2, where I literally just hook up a coax, turn the thing on, and I'm off to the races, especially if I use the key that's mounted on the front. I love that all-in-one self-contained radio type of deal. Now, the Lab 599 will be able to do that if I put a battery pack on it. Right now, those are not really available in the US, and they're crazy expensive, like $400 or something. But another story, another video, another day. Anyway, that may not bother you, the wires, the separate pieces. The separate pieces also has its advantages, right? So you can swap out speakers. Your speaker breaks, you buy another one. Your battery goes bad, you just get another one. You can hook up multiple batteries, swap between them, yada, yada, yada. Yep, there's advantages. So don't get me wrong when I say that. It's just my personal preference. Certainly not anything against the Mountain Topper. So, all right, well, hopefully I've given you some good thoughts on the Mountain Topper and not just rambled too much. And hope you enjoyed this activation. I certainly appreciate you joining along and listening to my ramblings. So feel free to comment, ask questions. If there's anything I didn't cover, feel free to ask, and I'll do my best to answer. And I will catch you guys in the next video and the next activation, which will probably be on Saturday. 72 from W4ARB. Dip, dip. Okay, I won't do that again. Bye.